Hey everyone, it's Michael GoosebumpsFan. Today I have another thing like Goosebumps to talk about. I just reviewed the first three films in the last couple of days of this particular Universal Monsters series. This is the 1942 film, The Invisible Agent. Yes, this is the Universal Monsters Legacy Pack. The Invisible Agent is an Invisible Man film, and personally, I would say this is my second favorite in the whole franchise. I would rank it almost Invisible Man, Invisible Agent, Invisible Man Returns, and then Invisible Woman. Not Invisible Woman being bad or anything, just, it's my least favorite of all of them because it's more of a comedy. Invisible Agent is so much fun. It's so crazy and dramatic and intense. There's some really good humor and comedy in this when there is supposed to be that. It's not like The Invisible Woman where it's just non-stop comedic moment after moment. It's not like that. This is actually something that is more of a World War II type movie, and it works amazingly well. I love the film. I think it's probably, potentially, I would argue in some cases, more well made than the first film with Claude Rains that James Whale directed, the guy that made Frankenstein and Bride of Frankenstein. I think Invisible Agent is just, it's amazing, man. Where to even begin with this? The story is essentially about the grandson, I believe, of the Claude Rains character. I think Claude Rains' character, of course, in the first film developed this invisible chemical type thing that when he put it into his bloodstream, it turned his whole body invisible. And he was having a hard time trying to figure out how to turn back to normal. And it was also driving him crazy. Now, this film takes up the same mantle as The Invisible Woman. You don't go crazy just because you're invisible. And I don't know if they said anywhere in the film that they perfected it, or I don't know, but the serum itself doesn't drive you crazy in this particular movie. Now, the main character, who is the grandson, I love the actor who played him. I thought he was fantastic. He was so much fun. He was just that great World War II John Wayne type of hero for your movie, and I loved him. He was so good. The actor did such a great job with what he was given. Again, this is a World War II era film. This is something where essentially a man who is the grandson that has the serum and the recipe to make that serum to make people invisible is working at a job. He changed his name and everything. He wanted to get rid of his family's legacy of being the invisible people, essentially. And basically, a bunch of German kind of Nazi guys show up here in America somehow. I think it was in America. Or Britain? I think it was America, though. Didn't make sense how that happened. I guess they just kind of somehow snuck in. And they came over and found this man. They basically tried to beat him up and almost kill him, essentially, to try to make sure they could get the invisible serum out of him, because they had heard about what had happened with his grandfather and that they knew he'd probably have one, being a relative of that man. And the guy won't give it up. So he ends up beating them up. He is so tough and fun to watch. Just the fight scenes are so much fun here. Again, compared to most black and white film, the fight scenes are amazing in this. I had a really good time watching that. Now, the man gets away, and he talks to the government at one point, and he basically tells them that he will not give them the invisible serum until something really horrible happens that changes his mind. Pearl Harbor. Pearl Harbor takes place. And this man immediately says, okay, you know what, government, US government, British government, all of these guys, I'm not going to give you the serum to turn invisible, but I myself will take it, since I'm in shape and I'm all that stuff. I will take it myself, and I will go over there invisible and do a little spy mission that you want me to do. Yeah, it's essentially a spy film. A lot of people kind of blatantly call it that. I don't think it's fair to say that that's exactly what this is, but it kind of is. It is such a fun, wild, insane movie. You talk about using the Invisible Man in the best possible way for a really cool version of a film involving him, or that idea, that concept. This film does it so well. I love this film more than Hollow Man. I love this film in some ways almost more than the original film. I'd say it's almost par for par with the original Claude Rains film for me that was almost 10 years previous to this movie being made and released. The film has so much going for it. It has a fantastic score, just so many good special effects, even though it's not like, in The Invisible Man Returns, you would see when Vincent Price was invisible, you would see him, kind of like the shape of him walking around in like smoke and stuff, right? Really cool concept. You don't see a whole lot of that kind of thing here from what I remember. But there was the special effects were really good in here. Stuff like when, for example, the Invisible Man, to try to make himself more visible to a woman that he's talking to, who is helping him out as a spy in Germany. She's a German woman herself involved with the Nazi party. He puts, like, lotion on his face, or, like, cream, or I don't know what it was. I don't remember what it was. But he put some kind of thing, some kind of makeup on his face to try to make it where she could be talking to a regular person. How they did that special effect is just beyond me. I mean, again, I'm amazed by how good the special effects were with that kind of stuff in this movie. The bath scene, if you haven't seen the bath scene, that's really well done here too. The film has so much going for it, and it does it so well. All of these cool Invisible Man things. So it's not just like a World War II spy type movie. It has a lot of service to people who are fans of the Invisible Man and the series in general. If you love these series, if you love this film, if you love the Universal Monster films in general, you cannot miss The Invisible Agent. And again, this film, just watching this hero guy go do stuff, basically the same type of thing as the Doom guy from the Doom games. Doesn't really matter what his name is, he's just kind of the tough character guy that's, again, kind of like a John Wayne type. And he's just so much fun. I have loved his jokes that he would crack in the film. I love the chemistry between he and the girl in the film that's helping him spy and try to get to what he needs to do. There's so many cool sequences in this, and I could not recommend it enough. I don't want to tell you too much. I want you to go into this film having a big surprise. Again, this is probably my number 2 pick right now for best of the franchise. You know, I haven't seen all the films, but for right now, this would be my favorite. Or my second favorite. I really love this. There's a lot of competition between this and the first film for me. The first film would almost top this if you cut out the Una O'Connor stuff, because the special effects and everything are impeccable in that film. The humor is impeccable in that film. It's kind of creepy too, some of the stuff that Claude Rains would say in that movie, but like here, this is just such a fun time, and that's really what I expected from this because of how weird the premise sounded. I love the scene towards the end of the movie with the plane crash. And that's not really a big spoiler, but for anybody who knows what I'm talking about with the 2 soldiers that walk by, that is one of the best comedic moments I've ever seen in a film. I don't know why that hit me the way it did. It was so funny. It was such a great line. And again, this is not like the Invisible Woman film that came out in 1940, 2 years previous. It's not like that in the sense of being just a straight-up Three Stooges-esque slapstick comedy. It's not like that. This is like a straight-up serious movie, a dramatic film more than anything. A spy thriller type of thing, more than a horror film. And it's great. It's fantastic, and I recommend it. A whole family can sit down and watch this. There was no cursing or anything like that in it. No gore, nothing like that. Just really, really cool, fun stuff. And a couple of kind of just really touching, sad type of moments for me. One big one, but still, I really, really enjoyed the film a lot. If you haven't seen The Invisible Agent, you're missing out. I'm telling you, it's 4th film in the series, and somehow it's probably one of the best, if not the best, potentially. I love it. I recommend it tremendously. If you haven't seen The Invisible Agent out of the Invisible Man franchise, you need to. You really should. Really great stuff. Anyway, what are your thoughts on The Invisible Agent, the 1942 film? Do you love it? Do you hate it? What do you think about all that? Put your comments and beliefs and whatever about that down in the comment section down below. I messed up my whole little intro, or outro. Anyway, if I had to rate The Invisible Agent on a 5-star basis, I'd probably give this like a 5 out of 5. I love it. I think it is such a fun, crazy, insane, over-the-top movie. It deserves all the acclaim that people who are actually fans and check this out deserve. I think everybody that gives it praise, it deserves that. It's so well made, and that really impresses me tremendously. Because you don't see a whole lot of this type of movie in the Universal Monsters films. As much as I love them all, for the most part, you don't see a whole lot of weird, out-there films like this that are very different from the rest of the franchise. This is a really good one. I love it. I recommend it. Anyway, what are your thoughts? Put them down below. Thank you for watching. May the Lord Jesus Christ bless you guys today, and goodbye.